3 things that actually bully-proof your child. So today we're going to talk about, with my experience in coaching confidence building programs at schools and youth centers and 10 years of coaching kids martial arts, what actually bully-proofs your child, and you might be surprised with a few of them. Now the first one won't come as a surprise, but it's overall confidence. You'll see the kids that come into the class, they haven't even trained before, but they're coming in super confident. Especially with martial arts, you can see that they're kids that are generally confident with their physical ability. They come in bouncing around, and even though they don't understand any of the techniques yet, they're confident they're able to learn it and develop it, because they're the type of kids that are jumping around. They're outside, they're not inside playing on their computers or PlayStations or whatever kids are playing these days. And the reason why, from my experience of coaching, what I believe is that because kids that are outside, they're playing and they're physical, they often are facing physical challenges. They fall over, they overcome all these little things. Overcoming and facing challenges and getting towards the end is a skill that develops confidence. The kids that are physically confident are generally mentally confident. They come in and they're like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I know that I'm going to be able to learn it. I know that I'm going to give it a go, and if I don't enjoy it, I probably won't continue, but I'm not scared of giving it a go. On the other end of that, you see the kids that don't have a lot of physical confidence. They generally will show that in their body language. They won't want to leave their parents, they won't want to come onto the mat, because they have a sense of self-doubt that they're unable to accomplish or unable to learn the skill or the technique that was going to be taught. Now, if you're thinking, my kid's the latter, and yeah, they're not a naturally physical person, that's nothing to worry about, because that can be developed, and it can be developed in martial arts, especially. That's where my experience comes from, whenever we can give them controlled challenges. So controlled challenges is what the kids that are already physically active have been able to implement themselves without knowing it. What they've done is they've gone outside, they played, they jumped over things, they fell over, and then they tried it again, they made the jump the second time, and as time goes on and as they get more confident, they're able to build up their challenges. Now, if your kid's not that way inclined, it generally falls onto us to be able to control the challenges. We're not going to take them to a playground and we're going to see a kid over there who is already physically talented, physically confident, he's jumping over all this equipment that is more intermediate, advanced level stuff. We're not going to chuck them on there to begin with. We're going to take them to more of the younger side of the playground and develop those small challenges that build those confident to begin with. If you put them in that big playground to begin with and expect them to act how the other kids are acting, they're going to fail, they're going to get overwhelmed, and they're going to not want to do it again, because failing isn't something that is generally a nice thing to feel. That's why we go back to our controlled challenges, because that's when we make these little fails, but it's so close to the reward that we know if we give it another shot, we're going to be able to get it done next time. When you fail on the other playground and you know that the jump is never possible in the first place, it's, I'm not even going to try because I can't even succeed. But when you take them over here and they jump and they just miss, it's like they know that they were this far away, so I'm going to be able to achieve it next time. And then you don't want to take them to an extreme where they're with toddlers or with babies, because then everything is too easy and you're not able to develop that challenge that they learn to overcome. And that's why martial arts is so fantastic, because most gyms generally have a structured curriculum where we start off low and we slowly build our way up. We partner new kids with more experienced kids and they're able to teach them along the way. I never go up to a new kid and expect them to do black belt level stuff. I get them doing the white belt stuff, and there's a system that we slowly progress and become more confident. So now going back to how does this work to becoming confident to not get bullied? Because those kids know that they can face challenges. They know they can overcome it, and they walk around with confidence knowing that this challenge this person has given me is something that I can overcome. It's not so overwhelming and intimidating where I'm not going to be able to get through on the other end. It creates mental resilience and mental fortitude that the kids learn to take into other parts of their lives. Now, number 2, and this one may be a little bit more surprising, and this kind of comes in 2 parts. It's kids that have a wide variety of hobbies / can make friends. And even though they seem like 2 completely different things, here's why they're connected. Because kids that do multiple things and don't just do what they're comfortable with, they learn to interact with kids that have different interests. We learn to interact with people with different cultures, different hobbies, different skills, different age. All these differences, we learn to interact with a wider variety of people. This allows us to make friends more easily because we don't naturally fall into a group that we're comfortable with. We know that because we're comfortable in trying new things and we generally face different groups of people in those different activities, we're able to make friends with a wider group of people. That's when I see the kids that come into the martial arts class and you see they're just making friends with absolutely everybody. Their parents will tell me they do martial arts, they do all these sports, they do extracurricular. But what I've noticed is getting kids outside of their comfort zone and doing different hobbies outside of what they're already used to allows them to make friends more easily. And why does having friends help you from being bullied? Because bullies generally are insecure and they will find easy targets where they can pick on. All that bullies are doing is they projecting their insecurities onto other people that they know they can handle it because they don't want to face the confrontation either. So they'll find the target that's easiest to pick on, that have the least amount of friends and the least amount of people that are going to back them up and support them. You never see a bully picking on someone that has a lot of friends because they're intimidated by the whole group. So if your kid has a wide variety of hobbies and is willing to interact with a more diverse group of people, they'll have an easier time of interacting and making friends, which will then give them a wider support network if they ever face a bully. Now, number 3, this is probably what you expected, and it's actually the last one on the list, and this is self-defense confidence. Is when kids develop a self-defense, they become more confident that they can handle themselves in a conflict situation. Not only physical confrontation, but also verbal confrontation, because they know that the yelling and the noise is just noise. That if it leads onto something serious where I'm actually in physical harm, then I can actually protect myself. And in over 20 years of practicing martial arts and being in this network of people, it's very rare that you interact with martial artists who actually get themselves into physical altercations. It's like one of those things, we learn it so that we never have to use it. And people that get into physical confrontation are most likely people that don't understand the result of it. When you're practicing martial arts consistently, you understand that you're never going to be the best, that there is a high risk of getting hurt, and you don't want to do it in an uncontrolled situation. But even though we don't want to do it in an uncontrolled situation, we still have the confidence that we can do it if we need to. And it gives us more of a sense of peace and self-belief. And that's why I encourage martial arts like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, because they have a high level of physical interaction and closeness that can be overwhelming. But what you realize really quickly is when you're a beginner and don't have a lot of knowledge, that someone else has the ability to control you. And that's a pretty scary thought, that we're all on a journey to be able to control ourselves, but to have someone else control us is very intimidating. When we realize that we have the ability and the skills to be able to physically control someone else, we don't have to resort to a more high level or escalation of violence like punching and striking. And that's a huge gap, because you realize that if someone actually knows what they're doing and you get into a physical altercation, you can get yourself really badly hurt. So kids that do martial arts, they have more self-belief in themselves because they know that they are able to face those controlled challenges. They're able to develop a skill that's practical in self-defense, and then they know that they learned it, so they never have to learn it. And it also helps you control that ego and turn it from ego into self-belief. So these are the 3 things that I actually think help kids from being bullied. The first one's confidence, and that goes without saying. A confident kid is generally not going to be bullied because they have a sense of self-belief and they know that they can overcome challenges. The second one is kids that have a wide variety of friends. They're able to interact with different cultures, different groups, different people, different ages. And that gives them the ability to make more friends and have more of a supportive network. And the last one is practical self-defense. If you know how to defend yourself, you're so much more confident. You're not using the ego that the bullies do. You're not insecure because we believe in ourselves. So that brings me to the end, and I got a question for you. If you're a parent, which you're watching this, you probably are. Have you thought about enrolling your kid in martial arts? And if so, which one? My recommendation for early and young kids would be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Actually, at all age groups, I'd recommend Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I also think there's a high practicality in wrestling and mixed martial arts. But boxing and kickboxing have great fitness components along with confidence building. So I just recommended them all. But one thing I'd look out for if you're going to sign your kid up for martial arts is that there is some type of physical contact. And that can be overwhelming for parents, that we don't want our kids to get hurt. But if we overprotect, we take away all challenges. And if we take away all challenges, we take away all growth. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully your kids are on the path to being bully proof. If you want more information about how to get your kids bully proof and you don't want to join a gym, look at the link in the bio. It's a group for parents to create confident kids using martial arts principles without joining a gym. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.